morning, class. This is your teacher Rona, and we're going to have a new discussion for today. So before we start our lesson, guys, that we have a short game, right? But before we go to our game, I just want to say that I hope you're having a good day, a good morning today, even though we don't have a face-to-face classes and we're just staying at home, but we still have our classes and we still have our lesson for today. So I hope you have a good morning. For our short game, we have puzzle game. For puzzle game, this is the directions. The students need to find as many words as they can in the puzzle. The hint is it is related to literature. If they find the words, they will receive a reward stickers. You're already aware of that. As you find many words as you can from this game, you can receive a reward stickers. So let's check the puzzle. As you can see, there's a puzzle in here. You can find the words that I put in there for related to literature. So let's see, and later on I will give you the correct answer. One moment. Okay, did you get the answers? Okay, great. Let's see what is the correct answer for this one. Okay, upon checking, we have simile and personification, metaphor, figurative language, and imagery. Are you guys so well aware of what these words are? Okay, great. It's about figurative language. So I hope you are well aware of figurative language, as this will be connected to our lesson for today. Our lesson for today will be exploring culture and history through poetry. So it's related to poetry and related to your culture and history. Okay? Let's deep dive on this specific lesson. So before that, I have a specific question for you. How do you show your love for your country, its culture, and history? Do you guys have any idea how you show your love for your country? First things first, I think what is the most important thing that should be doing for your country is not forgetting the past. Not forgetting the past of the people who've done their best to have this kind of freedom that we have right now. I think that's what it is. And for those people who sacrificed themselves just for this kind of setting that we have right now, for your freedom of speech, such thing like that, and any other things that is included is, for example, for our culture, it's related to our food that we have right now, and also for the specific things that is related to culture, which is our codes back in the day, and how it was shown to us. Specifically, if you go to museums, you can see how well they preserve our native clothes before, and how they preserve national artist works, such thing like that. You can check that out if you have a chance to go to national museums, for example. You can see a lot of things that is related to our culture and our history. So, to honor and to love our country are noble acts that should be instilled in young minds like you. So, it's very important that in your generation that you still have uh, love for our country and don't forget our roots of how our ancestors sacrificed their life just for us, just for young people like us that still um, being what do you call this, having this freedom that they fight before. Okay, like for example, do you guys have an idea for the song S by Panalo by Esmil? Esmil is a Philippine-born rapper, takes pride on the lyrics of Panalo, which shows for the specific meaning of the song his love of our country. So, if you have any idea of what that specific song is, you can search that, and I think you are all aware of that specific song. So, for I have lyrics in here of that specific song that shows that Esmil showed his love for of his country, which is Philippines. Let's see this specific lyrics that shows his love for our Philippine culture. Let's see the lyrics and let's all read together. Tayo ay Pilipino, kahit na anong kulay ng balat, isa sa puso, mapatagalog, Bisaya o Ilocano, walang tatalo sa bagsik ng ating dugo, isigaw ng malakas ang ating panahon. As you can see in there, that Esmil want to show that even though our color is, even though we have a different colors, we are different dialect that we speak, we still in our heart is Filipino. Next lyric, let's see. Huwag nang pag-usapan ng mga negatibong pangyayari, samang panig ka, nasa mundo, kinabukasan na natin to. Panalo. So, Esmel just want to state in there that even though there's a negative things that happening, we should and we have to still show our love for our country, um, even though there's still a negative things that is happening right now in our country, we still have to show our love to our country. That's what this specific lyrics Panalo want to state in that song, which shows that anything can happen, but our heart, for our heart, we still have to what? To love our country. Let's see. The poem in this lesson, okay, for if we deep dive in this specific lesson, it talks about pride of our country and of being a Filipino. So we will read a poem in our lesson for today. You're going to read a poem and you're going to know what specific things that is included in that poem, but it's for later activity. We're just going to discuss first what is related to poem, what is related to culture, and what is related to history. Those two, how they are related in our specific lesson on how to be talks about pride of our country or being a Filipino. Let's see. It will help you realize the beauty and glory of your country. Of course, you should always remember that these specific readings will help you realize that there's a goodness, there's still a beauty and glory that is still showing in our country. So Let's tackle more about this. As you read it, take notice of our uniqueness as a nation. So, if we read a specific poem, you will realize even though there are times that there's complicated things that is happening in our country, we still have a uniqueness as a nation. Let's check. Okay, for this specific lesson, you will learn how writers use figurative language and imagery to add beauty and creativity in poems. It's really important that uh, figurative language and imagery, we're going to tackle that in a later lesson. And for figurative language, it is used to make beauty and creativity in poems, which makes it more special, more creative if we have the chance to read it and understand it. Okay? So if you're reading a poem and you seems that you don't understand what that poem is trying to say, you just have to read and understand, feel it in your heart, what is the specific meaning of that specific poem. That's the beauty and creativity of poems. You have to think outside the box of what is the meaning of that specific poem so that you can learn that they use figurative language imagery just to show us what is the specific meaning. This is the specific meaning of the specific poem, such thing like that. Let's check more about this lesson. Okay, the meaning of figurative language. It's give clearness, force, and beauty to ideas and effectiveness to one's speech and writing. So even though figurative is the meaning of figurative, it's not literal. It's just it's used more beauty and idea. What the one moment please. It's figurative and it gives more beauty in an idea, and it's not literal in general. Let's check. Figurative language use figures of speech. So let's see what this figure of speech is. Okay, figure of speech, any use of words in a sense different from their literal definition. So, figure of speech is they exaggerate the specific words, but even though they exaggerate it, there's a literal meaning to it. Do you guys get it? Even figures of speech used to make the words exaggerated, but there's still a literal definition for that. If we are not well aware of figures of speech, you will, if you hear that specific words, you will realize that it's really impossible for that specific thing to happen, for that specific statement to happen, because that's they use words that is not really happening in reality, but there's a literal definition for that. But figure of speech make the words beautiful, creative. That's why we are using it. See? Okay, figures of speech. Most common figures of speech that we can see is first things first is simile. Let's check what is the definition of simile. Direct comparison between two objects of different kind which are however similar in an aspect. So simile is comparing two things but in different kind, but they have similarities that can be used in a specific sentence. and they introduced by such word as like and as. If you see a word like and as in a specific statement or a figure of speech, it is simile. Okay, let's check for an example. Example, she's as cold as ice. Is this a literal version, or is it possible that this specific person can be cold as ice? No, it's a figurative language, which means it's for the literal meaning of this is that specific person is not minding some, doesn't care at all, or they are what do we call this, um hindi namamansin, for example, or they don't care at all, such thing like that. Next example is Rapunzel hair was as soft as clouds. So it doesn't really mean that it's a cloud. It's just how it executed that Rapunzel hair was soft as clouds, because cloud, for our perspective, is from what we see in the sky, it's soft. So it compared to the hair of Rapunzel that is also soft. Okay, so it's just a comparison from a different objects, but they share a specific aspect. Okay, so the object in here is the clouds, was soft as clouds, and it was being related to what? The hair of Rapunzel. Let's check for the third example. Like a tall woman walking across the rice field, the rain comes slowly, dressed in a crystal and the sun. So in here you can see like a tall woman walking across the rice field. The rain comes slowly, dressed in a crystal and the sun. It there shows like in here that it compares the tall woman, and it compares to, let me check for a moment, the rain. It compares in the rain that comes slowly dressed in a crystal and the sun. Okay, let's check for other figures. Okay, we have metaphor. For figure of speech metaphor, it's an implied simile, which means it's an implied simile means that it's not directly. Okay. Um, and it does not say that an object is like the other or act as the other. Like for metaphor, it's not using like or as to compare, but these two objects as if they are one and the same. Okay, they compared the two objects as if it's the same, such thing like that. Let's check for the example. Let's go with the examples of metaphor. For the example is she has heart of stone, and laughter is the best medicine. Morning is a new sheet of paper for you to write on. So it doesn't have like or as. It just shows that she, for the first example, she has a heart of stone. That specific person is compared to the heart of stone, which is matigas ang puso, kumbaga. And the next one is laughter is a best medicine. So laughter is compared to a medicine. So that's just a metaphor. They don't use as or like, but they compare that specific object to another specific object that have a relatively same same, not same meaning, but same aspects. Morning is a new sheet paper for you to write on. So for it, morning is compared to a paper, which is for a literal meaning is it's another day. It's morning is just another day for you to get up and do something, such thing like that. Next one, let's see. We have personification. For personification, the definition is objects that animals are given human qualities. So it's a very easy to determine personification because objects and animals are given human qualities just to function as human. Okay, let's check for the specific example for this one. Okay, the sunflowers nodded in the wind. Can sunflowers nodded or pwede ba silang tumango sa hangin? Did sunflower can do that? In a literal meaning, no. That's why it's figure of speech is really a bit beautiful and creative words because it can create a word that we may not understand in the first instant, but if we understand and comprehend it in a way that it can be analyzed, we can see the beauty in it. Next one, this city never sleeps. Okay, do you think it's a literal meaning? Of course not. This city never sleeps. It just means that um, this specific city has a lot going on day or night, such thing like that. But as using figure of speech personification, this specific city compared to a person who never sleeps or for the quality that a person can do or an animal can do. Okay, next one, the waves dance as the sun smiles at them. Okay, can wave dance? No. Or can a sun smiles? No. So it's just it means just, I think the literal meaning of this one is good weather or a sunny weather. That's why the waves are dancing and the sun smiles. Okay, do you get the idea of these two? You have to remember that these three things, these common figures of speech that we have tackled for today. First one is simile, the next one is metaphor, and next one is personification. Again, for simile, it's direct comparison between two objects with different kind, which are however similar in one aspect. And they are compared using like and as. So it's a direct similarities for those two. They compare it directly. However, in metaphor, it's indirectly. It's just an implied simile. And they compare it together, but they did not use like and as for metaphor. Next one is personification. This specific figures of speech is just object and animals are given human qualities in a specific statement just to personificate it. So that's the three things that you have to remember in our lesson, and you have to remember also the figurative language and figures of speech. For figures of speech, gives clearness, force, and beauty to ideas and add effectiveness to one's speech and writing. So it makes the writing more creative, more beautiful if we have a chance to use that in our sentence, in our words, or, or in our speech. And also figure of speech, it makes sense from it use a different verbs that makes sense in a sense that it's different from the literal definition, but it's still related to the literal definition, but it just gave more exaggeration on the literal definition of this of that specific words, but it still function as part of that literal definition, but it's just make the sentence more creative, but by exaggerating it in a way that it's engaging to the readers, and it gain their attention, because if you use figures of speech in your writings, um, it makes people you make people you can catch the emotion of your readers. You can catch their emotions, and you can entertain them by using words that like this, figures of speech, figurative language. You can use that to make the readers be entertained to your writings. Let's check. Okay, so thank you so much for listening to this specific discussion we have today. Let's see what you have for your seat work. Let's check. Okay. Direction. Identify if the statement is simile, metaphor, or personification. Write your answer in a one-foot sheet of paper. You guys know this. You have to put that answer in your one-foot sheet of paper. Okay, first number. Jenny cooked the candy too long. When she took it out of the oven, it was hard as a rock. What do you think is the right answer? Is it simile, metaphor, or personification? You have to write that down in your one-fourth. Next one. Okay, Ida worked hard on her report. After presenting it to the class, she felt as light as a feather. What do you think is the right answer for this one? Okay. I think you're done. Let's see the next number. The snow is a white blanket. Okay, what do you think is the right answer for this one? The snow is a white blanket. Okay, let's check. Number 4. The calm lake was a mirror about what was to come. The calm lake was a mirror about what was to come. Okay, what do you think is the right answer for this one? Okay, let's check the next number. The old car walked reluctantly from its overnight sleep. Coughing and sputtering, it finally broke into a loud roar. Okay, let me read that again for you. The old car woke reluctantly from its overnight sleep. Coughing and sputtering, it finally broke into a loud roar. What do you think is the right answer for this one? Okay. I think you're all done already with this specific seat work. Let's see what would be your assessment. For our assessment, you're going to read the poem below, find out the reason why the author is proud to be Filipino. Are you both proud for the same reasons? Let's check the poem first. Okay, the title of the poem is I Am Proud to Be a Filipino, Toribia A. Mano. The author of this one is Toribia A. Mano. Let's read all together what is this poem. Okay. I am a Filipino. I came from islands rippled with sun, where days are green fires and nights are warm with moon and stars. Girdling my loins in blood rich as milk, for I was born of sultans, raja, kings, soldiers, hero who fought to sing the poetry of freedom. My house is my land virgin, brown womb out of loam, volcanic rock and shells, carpeted with rice, corn, coconut, cane trees that rise as temples to grapple with winds, rains, mighty rivers furrowing the earth. Where I walk, my shadow is a marriage of floods. Malay, Chinese, Spanish, American, Japanese, while in my bones sleep quietly as a bride vanquished this shire of conquerors who dreamed of empires, gold, trade, and spice. Though a breed, I stand with the Asians, for my love and loyalty are as fish to the sea. I am proud of my brownness. My duty and destiny are 30 million brown men planting rice, husking coconut, throwing nets far into the Pacific, hacking mountains of iron, coal, chrome, manganese, and timber to live. We are one and the same, a moving, restless caravan of dark brown skin, building a holy heritage of democracy, piece by piece with our dreams, sweat and death as a bird builds, patiently twig by twig, the warm brown circle of its nest. I am a Filipino. I believe in the goodness and the bounty of God. I believe in the grandeur of charity and peace as a cure for the ills of men. For I am Christian, who looks upon all men as a brother whose task it is to love. Okay, that specific poem that you're going to read. I'm just requiring you to read that specific poem. Just if ever that you have an activity for the next day for our next discussion in this specific poem, you have an answer. So I want you all to read this specific poem and understand what is this specific poem was trying to say, so that if I have that activity for our next discussion, you have an answer for it. Okay, understand? I want you all to read this specific poem so that you have an answer for our next activity. Please do read this specific poem, and I want you all to um, not just read it but understand it. So I hope you have learned something for today. Um, and we will have our next discussion uh, by uh, next days, and still related from this topic, but um, I want you to all to take care of yourself while in the house, and that's all. And thank you very much. I hope you learned something for today from this lesson. Thank you and goodbye, class.